Welcome to Roberlingua, a program to learn English. I am Robert Ramos. This program is aimed at English learners. Therefore, we speak slowly and use words and phrases, specially written for people who are learning English. Next in the program, we will hear health and lifestyle news. We close the program with the lesson of the day. Go ahead. A Taiwanese company wants to become the first to launch a rocket from Japan. The planned launch will take place as Japan plans to invest 26 billion in its space agency over the next 10 years. The goal is to create a space center for other Asian nations. T-Space is the name of the private Taiwanese company. In 2016 it was founded by former and current officials of Taiwan's space agency. There has not yet been a successful rocket launch. In 2022, the last launch attempt by T-Space took place. In cooperation with the Australian company AtSpace, this effort was made. Due to a fuel-related problem, the launch attempt failed. A rocket with a different design will be launched in Japan. The Japanese people oppose plans by the government and businessmen to hire foreign companies for space activities. T-Space President Jensen Chen believes the planned launch should be a very good argument for the Japanese government. Chen said his company was waiting for a final government approval before the rocket can be scheduled for launch. A launch involving a sounding rocket could occur as early as 2025. A sounding rocket can reach space, but fails to enter orbit. Some industry experts have suggested that China might oppose the launch of a Taiwanese rocket from Japan. China considers Taiwan as part of its territory. However, Chen said he has not received any concerns from China. A representative of China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said he had no detailed information about the planned launch. In Japan, the government's cabinet office said economic and research activities are guaranteed under the country's laws and regulations. T-Space is the only Taiwanese company seeking to launch rockets from Japan. Wu Zhongxin, one of T-Space's co-founders, currently heads Taiwan's space agency. Agency officials would not comment on T-Space's plans, noting that all of its launches are done through government contracts. T-Space's plans have won support from some Japanese space companies, especially in the rural town of Taiki, where the launch will take place. Space officials and industry experts say it's a good thing Japan is inviting foreign companies to use its space services. Yuko Nakagawa, a ruling party lawmaker representing Taiki and its surrounding areas, sees T-Space's project as a symbol of friendship between Taiwan and Japan. She said the inclusion of more international companies could help create a large space complex that serves multiple nations. Japanese officials have said they want the country's private space industry to be worth more than 50 billion by the early 2030s, with up to 30 rocket launches a year. Japan is negotiating a space technology deal with the United States, which could allow private American rocket launches in Japan. Scientists have found an explanation for the enigmatic remains of an ancient Egyptian woman, whose open mouth resembles a scream. They used a CT scanner, a special computer-assisted X-ray, to examine the woman's body. The findings suggest the mummy, known as the Screaming Woman, may have died in pain and experienced cadaveric spasm, a rare muscle stiffening that occurs at the time of death. The analysis revealed the woman was about 48 years old at death. Sahar Salim of Cairo University led the study, recently published in Frontiers in Medicine. Salim said the woman was living with mild arthritis in her spine and had lost some teeth. Despite having been embalmed 3,500 years ago, the body was well preserved. The embalmers used expensive imported materials such as juniper oil and incense resin, essential to ensure a good existence in the afterlife, according to Egyptian beliefs. These specialists used to close the mouths of the dead by tying the jaw to the head to prevent it from falling. However, with the screaming woman, they were not negligent. They used high-quality materials and fitted her with expensive jewelry and a wig. The woman's open mouth may have been the result of a cry of pain at the moment of her death, with her facial muscles tensing due to cadaveric spasm. Although the full story of her death is not known, and the exact cause of her facial expression remains uncertain, Salim explained that this spasm affects only one group of muscles, not the entire body. The theory that the woman was embalmed alive was dismissed by Salim, who was unable to determine the exact cause of her death. The screaming woman was discovered in 1935 in the ancient city of Thebes, during a search for the burial of a high official named Senmut. The mummy was in a wooden coffin in a room under the burial area of Senmut's family. Although her identity is unknown, her expensive jewelry indicates her high position, probably as a close family member, sharing her eternal resting place. A new study has found that twice-yearly injections of an AIDS treatment were 100% effective in preventing new HIV infections in women. The U.S. drug maker Gilead markets the treatment under the name Sunlenca, approved in the United States, Canada, Europe, and elsewhere but currently only as an HIV treatment. The surprising results prompted researchers to end the study early and offer the injection, known as lenacapavir, to all participants. Tandy Gonkosi, who helped lead the research at the Desmond Tutu Health Foundation in Massafuamlil, South Africa, highlighted the innovation that a twice-yearly injection represents. About 5,300 young women and girls from South Africa and Uganda participated. None of the women who received the injection became infected with HIV, while about 2% of those who took daily prevention pills did. Gilead is awaiting the results of trials in men before seeking approval to use it as protection against HIV. The results were published July 24 in the New England Journal of Medicine and discussed at an AIDS conference in Munich, Germany. While other HIV prevention methods exist, such as condoms or daily oral medications, regular adherence has been problematic in Africa. Only 30% of people in the study who received Gilead's Truvda or Descovy HIV prevention pills took them, and that percentage declined over time. Kosi noted that biannual injections offer an option that removes the stigma associated with daily pills. However, the cost of treatment is high, more than $40,000 a year in the U.S., with health insurance covering part of it and patients the rest. The international community, including UNAIDS and Doctors Without Borders, is interested in Sunlenca's injections, but is concerned that Gilead has not agreed to a lower price for populations that need it most. Winnie Byanyuma, executive director of UNAIDS, urged Gilead to share the drug's patent with a UN program to allow the manufacture of low-cost generic versions. Andrew Hill of the University of Liverpool estimated that the drug's price could be reduced to about $40 per treatment once production is scaled up. Gilead has expressed its intention to seek a voluntary licensing program, allowing a small number of generic producers to manufacture the drug. Jared Baton, a Gilead product development officer, said the company is already in talks with generic manufacturers and understands the need to move quickly. UNAIDS reports that in 2022, 46% of new HIV infections worldwide occurred in women and girls, and in Africa, women are 3 times more likely to contract HIV than men. Despite progress in Africa, HIV infections are increasing in Eastern Europe, Latin America, and the Middle East. In 2023, there will be fewer HIV infections than at any time since the late 1980s, with the virus infecting about 1.3 million people each year and causing more than 600,000 deaths, mostly in Africa. And now, we'll talk about this week's report. It's great. My take on the study of twice-yearly drug injections to prevent HIV infection. I think the study's finding is a significant advance in efforts to combat HIV/AIDS. This study found that the drug Sunlenca, injected twice a year, was 100% effective at preventing HIV infections in women. The injection was so effective that researchers stopped the study to give the treatment to all participants. There are other ways to prevent HIV infection, such as daily oral medications. However, researchers said this biannual injection is more effective than a daily pill. Why regular use of daily pills has been problematic in Africa. In the new study, only about 30% of people given Gilead's Truvada or Descovy HIV prevention pills actually took them, and that percentage declines over time. One expert explained that biannual injections give people a choice. Also, infrequent injections removed the stigma or shame of taking pills to prevent HIV. Interesting. It's a great report. I really enjoy talking about this topic. It's time for the lesson of the day on the Learning English podcast. Our lesson is based on our video series, Let's Learn English. The series features Lila Smith in her work and life in New York. Today's lesson is based on her personal life. It's a special episode. Yes, indeed. It's special because she loves life. This event gives Lila and her co-workers a chance to dream about the future. That's right. Every ending is also a new beginning. So listen carefully to what Lila and her co-workers dream of doing. That means what they hope for the future. And listen to the ing form of the verb after the two words dream of. The episode begins with Lila and Peter meeting each other. And each shares what they've dreamed of doing. Lila, where are you going in such a hurry? Oh, hello, Simon. To the hospital. I got the results of my blood test today. I'm sure you're fine. Don't worry. You know, I used to dream of being a doctor. It's a very honorable career. Is there anything you've dreamed of doing? Of course. I'd love to be a dog trainer. In fact, I've taught my dog, Dublin, lots of tricks. Well, I'm off to the hospital. Goodbye. Goodbye, Lila. Goodbye, Dublin. When we say I'm going to, it's an informal way of telling someone where we're going. Lila is heading to the hospital. When she arrives, the hospital gives her some advice. She tells her that life is short and that it's important to do something you enjoy every day. I think the older you get, the shorter life seems. It's true. And maybe the idea that life is short is one of the reasons people have to-do lists. A bucket is an open container that can hold 15 to 20 liters of material. For example, you put water in a bucket to wash a car or clean a floor. But a to-do list is a list of the big things, the big dreams that you hope to make come true during your lifetime. Lila asks Simon about his to-do list. Lila, I've been wondering something. What's at the top of your to-do list? It's easy. I'd love to win the world singing competition. This is very curious. I just saw on Twitter that they're holding auditions in New York this weekend. Really? Can you read the news for yourself? Sure, absolutely. Thanks. Go ahead. Lila is helping Simon achieve a dream. He's dreamed of winning a big singing competition. And he's not the only person she's helping. Listen up. Christine, I was wondering if you still dream of being a dancer. Just every day. Well, guess what? A famous dancer is organizing a flash mob around the corner. Hundreds of people are dancing together. No way. No way. If you leave right now, you can join them. Bye. A flash mob is a dance that happens as a surprise, with many people dancing together in a public place. Ms. Jordan notices that Lila's co-workers have left the building. Lila suggests that something is going on. When we say something is happening, we usually mean an illness like the flu or a cold. But that's not what Lila really means. Listen to find out. Lila, what's going on? Where is everyone? I don't know. Maybe something is, circulating around the office. You mean germs, Lila? You better use some of this hand sanitizer. You don't want to get sick, too. Fine. Okay, thanks. It's not germs. Dreams, Mrs. Jordan. Dreams. What did you say, Lila? Nothing. Nothing. Lila is helping her co-workers follow their dreams. Listeners, what are some of your dreams? What do you dream of doing? Are your dreams realistic and doable, or are they over the top? Over the top means something is very unlikely or almost impossible to happen. But doable means it's something you can actually do. And remember, even difficult things can be doable. So, listeners, write to us in the comments, tell us what you dream of doing. What's on your bucket list? Does learning to speak English well include on your list? I bet it does. To finish off today's lesson, we'll hear about following your dreams. Thank you for listening to today's lesson on the Learning English podcast. I'm Robert Ramos. We hope you enjoyed and learned English. We're all following our dreams, big and small. What are your dreams? Our dream is for you to continue learning English. Thank you for listening. For all the time you invested for today's show, please join us again tomorrow for another Roberlingua English show. Thank you for listening.